Hello everyone, this is Anu from the Australian Academy. Today I am going to discuss with you an important cue card, which is talk about a toy you liked in your childhood. You should say what the toy was, who gave it to you and why did you like it. Okay, there are two things that you have to focus. You have to talk about a toy which you liked in your childhood. That means something which has already happened. So you will be speaking the entire cue card in past tense and you will try to cover all these three questions in a story format, in the sense so that it does not look like a typical question answer session. Okay, as I've always told that instead of just banging on the first question, you should give a introduction to your topic. Here the thing that you can talk about for an introduction would be your childhood. So you can start by saying that childhood is the golden phase of every human's life, and during that time toys are an integral part of every human being. They are just like a valuable assets. Assets are not like you are owning a property or a car or some bigger thing. For a child, even a small toy, small car can be a valuable asset because they are so much attached to it. They are emotionally attached to these small toys. Okay, they also help in the all-round development of a child, because the child is displaying sometimes his motor skills, he is using his brain, or sometimes like these toys are actually helpful in the overall development of a child. Being the youngest, now gradually you will come to the answering of these questions. This is actually a building up a background of your topic. Okay, being the youngest, I was a proud owner of a galaxy of toys. That means I had a lot of variety of toys, because being the youngest in the family, everyone whosoever came to my house, they used to bring a toy for me. Now here the toy that you choose can vary. For example, the boys they usually prefer having cars or guns or like the typical boy kind of toys, and the girls usually they play in their childhood with dolls or maybe some kitchen sets or something. The choice of toy that you choose for explaining this topic can be yours. Here particularly I am taking my favorite one was a racing car. Okay, now who gave it to you? It was gifted by my parents on my 6th birthday, and it was an exact replica of a Ferrari. Ferrari is a racing car. Now gradually I have explained this particular question in one single line, because there is not too much of information that I would like to discuss. If you want, like if you want to say ki, who actually gave it to you, or is there any story attached to it, you can elaborate in 2 or 3 lines. But straight away, why did you like it? Here I am going to first of all explain the physical features or about the toy, because what the toy was, it is still pending. I have mentioned only one name, that it was a racing car, but there needs to be more explanation given to this particular question. So I am coming back to the explanation of this particular question, that it was an exact replica of a Ferrari and looked amazing in fiery red color. Okay, I was absolutely thrilled, because and my joy knew no bounds. I was over the moon. I was extremely happy to receive that racing car. And now I am coming to describe the car. It had a beautiful body with stunning wheels and flickering lights. These are just the, you can say, enhancing your vocabulary, because you are using such good words. And it had a detachable roof with a fancy horn. Now it came with certain accessories like tracks, rechargeable batteries and radio remote control. Whatever toy you choose to explain this cue card, you can just explain in detail about that, because this is somehow actually answering the third part as to why you liked it. Okay, I was actually fascinated by the speed, which was really fast, and it had an option of the remote control had the option of making the car move forward and reverse, and the car could automatically detect an obstruction. So it was like so many features they were there in that car. When I showed it to my friends, they were all super excited and it gave me a high. I was actually very possessive about this car. I did not easily share it with my friends, and I was very particular about maintaining it. I took great care of that toy. I did not let any scratch or any damage happen to it, because I was extremely fond of that particular car. Now we are coming towards the end of the cue card, so we have to give it a good finishing. We can say that even though I don't play with that car anymore, obviously I've grown up, and it's been like priorities change when you grow up. You tend to move out from your childhood into adolescence and then into adult, and there are so many responsibilities. I still have it in my room. That shows ki amount of fondness that you had for that particular toy, and it still reminds me of my childhood. It refreshes my childhood memories, and whenever I see that toy, it brings a smile on my face. Now once we are done with the speaking of the cue card, then come up the follow questions. I am giving you certain sample follow up questions with their sample answers. Do you think children should play more than adults? Do you think that the children should be given more options, or why do you think that children should play more than adults? Obviously the reason can be since they have got enough time and energy, they can indulge in sports and physical activities, while the adults, they are boggled down by responsibilities, they don't have enough time. And then obviously it is their growing age, it is very important for their physical and overall development of the body, and physical activities, they are very important in their overall development. So these are some of the reasons why you can say that children should be, you can say, asked to play more. Obviously adults also want to play, but due to paucity of time and the pressure of responsibilities, they are unable to devote enough time on sports. Then supposedly the question is, what kind of differences have you noticed in the way of entertainment in children in past years? That means it is a comparative, like in earlier times what were the means of entertainment for children, and specifically for children, and now what kind of things do children use to entertain themselves. You can just give a comparison that, like in earlier times there was not too much of advent of technology, and these smartphones and playstations were not there, so children indulged in more of outdoor sports or physical activities. You can enumerate a few examples as well. But now in current times, due to maybe certain times it happens that there is no open space around, or there is a risk of, like these days there are so many cases of kidnapping, though parents don't feel safe in letting their children go to the parks, or they don't have someone to accompany them, that children cannot be left alone. So that is why they are restricted to smartphones or electronic gadgets. That is why they have become a couch potato. So this is how you can give a comparison, not a very elaborate one, but like 2 to 3 sentences for either of the side. Okay. If the question asks, do you think sports reduce mental pressure? That means what is the importance of sports in reducing the mental stress? Do you think, like if you play any sport, you will be just relieving yourself from maybe anxiety, stress or depression? Then you can say yes, of course. So sports do play an important role in reducing mental pressure, because they are a good distraction. Supposedly you are frustrated or annoyed or angry. If you are sitting or if you are trying to focus on your studies, you will not be properly concentrating. But if you divert yourself, mind, if you try to play any sport, then your mind will be distracted, and maybe you will get rid of that negative feeling. They are actually a very good stress buster. They channelize your maybe negative energy or your negative thoughts, or maybe you are not feeling good on that day. So supposedly if you just focus, so while surrounded with other people, when you are interacting with your teammates, you may feel better. It stimulates secretion of happy hormones as well, which give you a very good feeling, and you tend to forget worries when you are involved in any kind of a sport. What is the difference between traditional and modern games? It is the comparison of the games that were played in ancient times and in the modern day times. Obviously, you know, in modern times, technology, electronics, smartphones, these are the latest things. But in traditional times, what were the games? Maybe you can talk about some typical sports like kho-kho, kabaddi or football or hockey, these kind of games. But now in modern times, in the technological era, mainly it is the advent of the digital games, the Xbox or the, you can say, playing consoles. All these things you can enumerate while explaining the particular answer. And you can also talk a little bit about the impacts or the repercussions. Like earlier, people were more indulgent in physical activities, so they were very fit. But now, due to these digital games, the children and as well as the people, the older generation also, they are becoming quite lethargic. Supposedly, if the question asks that people believe that outdoor games are more efficacious, that means they are more effective than indoor games, what is your opinion? What do you feel? That outdoor games are better or indoor games are better? You can choose any of the option, or if you feel that you are agreeing diplomatically, that means you feel at times outdoor games are important, but certain times due to certain reasons a child or a person is unable to go outdoors, and then he is restricted to play indoor games, then you can give a diplomatic answer also. You can just say, you can discuss both the aspects. Obviously, outdoor games are beneficial more if we talk about the physical challenges that they offer, and it is actually helping in the overall growth and development. But if we talk about indoor games, then we can say that it is actually channelizing your mental exercise. They actually give a good boost to your brain power. Sometimes certain indoor games are very good, they are very effective in maybe memorizing power or your strategy making or how to tackle certain problems. So accordingly you can frame up a answer. How sports and games help children to galvanize their mind? How can we use the sports and games as a means to channelize the energy of your mind? You can say they are acting as a stress buster and they break the monotony. Like in school times also, we were anxiously waiting about the games and the sports period because mind gets tired after reading continuously. So they actually break the monotony, and learning also enhances once we take a break. They recharge your body as well as your mind. Your body also needs some kind of physical challenges, and when you are playing any sport, then you learn certain skills also. Like supposedly if you are playing any teamwork, then you learn how to behave in a team, how to coordinate in a team, your leadership skills, your communication skills. These are the skills which are also enhanced by playing any sport or game. Supposedly if you fail in any game, if you lose any match, then you know how to tackle failure and how to bounce back with renewed vigor and energy. So these are the things that are actually, they can be taught by playing any sport or game. These things cannot be just taught theoretically, but these things can be learned by playing sports and games. What are the common games which children like to play in their childhood? You have to talk about the games which children usually play in their childhood. You can just talk about, maybe you can talk about your own childhood in the sense that whatever games you had played in your childhood. Maybe you can talk about certain outdoor games, if you played football or if you went for cycling or if you played some teamworks. Then you can also mention about certain indoor games in this, like if you played chess or maybe name place animal thing or other board games. That kind of games you can just enumerate in this particular answer. And you can also say, like in modern times, these games are a passe, and mostly the young children, the children are actually playing on their smartphones or in their gaming consoles. So both the aspects you can include in this particular answer. The last one is, why some people pursue their career in games and sports? What is the reason why people want to take up sports and games as a career? You can say that not everybody is academically inclined, and sometimes people who are very good in sports, they are actually forced to build up a career in academics. But the thing is, if a person is keen on building a career in games and sports, it actually ensures a lot of name, because sports person are held with high recognition and adulation, and obviously money is also involved. You can quote an example of any particular sport, maybe cricket or football, or maybe any particular eminent sports person to exemplify. And a person who is actually fond of travel can also say that if I play any sport and if I am very good, and if I try to build a career in sports, I would get a chance to travel across the globe. And also in my country, if I talk about, there are certain perks associated with sports personality. So you can enumerate all these reasons to answer this particular question. Thank you.